Hey, this is Vince, Tournament Director for the American Legion Post 22 Wolfpack Run Trilogy Challenge, and I'm here to give you the first impressions of the player pack discs this year. Let me give you a quick rundown of what you get in the player pack. You get the mini. The mini's on a little Velcro patch, which is kind of cool. You could put it on your disc bag or backpack or whatever you have that takes morale patches. Carry it with you, promote the Trilogy brand wherever you go. You also get the towel. You don't get a grommet in them anymore. I always like the grommet. I could attach it to the bag, but hey, stick it in your pocket. Again, do what you want with those. The main three things you get are the discs, and you get a Stag. The Stag is your driver. It has disc numbers of 8 speed, 6 glide, -1 turn, and 2 fade. I'll get into how that flies in a bit. You get the Truth. The Truth is in this nice lucid plastic. This comes with flight numbers of speed 5, glide 5, turn and fade are 1 and 1, -1 and 1. And then you get your putter, which is the Peak. And the Peak is a 3301 flight number set. So our Trilogy Challenge starts today, May 24th, and we are running a Wolfpack format, which means you get 3 to 5 people together. You play any time between now and June 6th. You have to have your scores in by June 6th, so you play it as kind of a choose your own time to throw, which is pretty handy here in Florida in the summer when it gets ridiculously hot during the day. So you can go during the morning or at night or whenever it fits your schedule. So I took the TD privilege of throwing them a little bit ahead so I can give some feedback on these discs ahead of our tournament. So here's my first impressions. First off, I'm not a big fan of the Stag. It was overstable for me quite a bit. It's a speed 8, so I would have thought it would have flown more like a River maybe. And it kind of does, except it's very stable. Now, granted, it's new. New discs generally are overstable or more stable than they are written out to be. So most of our players are going to be throwing these right out of the wrapper, right? So they're not broken in. They're going to be throwing them in a more stable condition. So just keep that in mind. Put a little more ante on it because it faded hard to the left when I played. I actually probably won't be throwing this during the tournament. I'd stick with this Truth. This Truth really flew well true, right? I was able to get this to go pretty farther than the Stag, I think. To me, this Truth is like a warship, maybe a more stable warship, if you remember the warship from 2 years ago, 3 years ago maybe. But I really liked it. It flies, I generally like the mid-ranges that come in the Trilogy Challenge packs, and this is no exception. This is a great disc. I really like this lucid plastic, little translucent. Great disc. I will probably be throwing this as my main driver and mid-range during the tournament. The Peak, it's a pretty hard disc, so if you were looking for a softer one, this isn't going to be it. It's a hard disc, pretty durable plastic. To me, this throws like a Pure with a bead on it. I'm not a fan of the beads. This is a micro bead, not too bad, but it's definitely a harder, more durable putter. I like the way this throws. I was using it as a throwing putter out in the field, and so for approach shots, it's going to be pretty good. Now, interestingly, I don't have a really good forehand, but I was forehanding a lot of these. So when I went out to do the test round, what I did was I drove as a right-hand backhand, which is my primary drive. I drove all 3 of them to see how they drive. And then I take my approach shot with a forehand. again, I don't have a great forehand, but all of these were able to glide pretty well, with my forehand. I wasn't trying that hard with them, so maybe that's it for me. It's just don't throw as hard when you're doing a forehand. But they all seem to work, especially the truth. I was banging chains with the approach shot and the truth, so that was good. The putter flew straight and pretty true. So the peak is, I think, could be a solid putter for you. Again, I'm not a big fan of the micro bead. I can get used to it, but my main putter is a pure, and it probably will continue to be my pure. But I think people are going to like the peak. I think people like the peak, and I think they'll like the truth. The Stag, again, wasn't a big fan of it, but maybe when it breaks in a little bit, it will be. I'm really happy that they went down to a speed 8, because, man, when we bring in new players to play the Trilogy Challenge and we put a speed 10 in their hands, it's kind of a waste of a disc for them because they're not going to handle it. So getting it down to an 8 was a good idea for them. As always, the discs are a good set, good value for your money. Nice getting the players out there to play. New this year for the winners pack is the first off, the gift cards come from both Dynamic Discs and Westside. So if you're a TD, you might want to shuffle up your prize winnings for each place for those, depending on how you do it. No sense in mixing them up, so keep your West Sides together and your Dynamic Discs together. Also, the pins are nice, so we got second place and third place pins. So you get the trophy discs and then the second place and third place pins. So overall, great pack. Gonna have a good time with this. Tomorrow is my throwing round, and some folks are out there already today. Initial feedback's been pretty good. So enjoy. Talk soon.